Have you ever deeply regretted something you said or did? Sometimes we act on impulse or let our emotions get the best of us. We have so many emotions, it's easy for them to take control. The 5 basic emotions are joy, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. And they can all splinter off into many more feelings like jealousy, nervousness and disappointment, gratefulness, contentedness, and satisfaction. It can be easy to categorize our emotional outbursts as simple reactions triggered by environmental stressors, but it is in fact possible to control them. If you begin to recognize yourself as the master of your emotions, there will be fewer moments of regret or upset in your life. Mastering your emotions is hard, but anyone can do it. In this video, we'll be giving you a few tips to help you master your emotions. Number 1. Recognize and deconstruct your emotions. If you do not know how to articulate how or what you're feeling, it's difficult to master that emotion. But before you can articulate what you're feeling, you have to actually learn what it is that you're feeling. Developing a clear sense of what you're feeling can prevent binge behavior that stems from emotional stress. One way to develop emotional awareness is to keep track of your emotions. Ask yourself, what are you feeling and when did you start feeling that way? And what was it that caused you to feel that particular feeling? This practice of recognition prevents you from generalizing your emotions. For example, feeling bad can be broken down into many different ways, such as feeling anxious, frustrated, or afraid. Studies show that affect labeling helps reduce related stress and anxiety. Once you've developed a vocabulary for your emotions, you will then be able to deconstruct them down to physical manifestations. Physical sensations are the brain's natural way of coping with overwhelming feelings. Learning to recognize these manifestations can help you untangle yourself from your emotions. For example, if you're anxious, you may feel your heart race, your chest constrict, or have sweaty palms. When you're angry, you may feel hot, like the blood rushes to your face and neck and bubbles under your skin. You might clench your teeth or fists in anger. Or when you're sad, you may feel physically heavy and exhausted and struggle to motivate yourself to get out of bed. Number 2, develop emotional intelligence. Fostering emotional intelligence is perhaps the first step towards mastering your emotions. Emotional intelligence is a buzzworthy word, but what is it? Generally, emotional intelligence involves the ability to identify and name emotions, coupled with the ability to harness these emotions and apply them to certain tasks, and to manage your emotions. Cultivating emotional intelligence will help you better define what you're feeling in any given situation and thus tailor your reactions to fit the moment. You might often generalize your emotions. For example, spilling coffee on your favorite sweater automatically ruins the rest of your day. But if you learn to recognize what you're feeling at that moment, then you'll know what next steps to take so that it does not affect your entire day. Some skills that can help you cultivate emotional intelligence in your life are to practice self-awareness. Learn how to channel your emotions and figure out how to motivate yourself, and also cultivate empathy for others as well as yourself. Number 3, learn new concepts. New experiences can open your mind and introduce you to new perspectives, which in turn allows you to create new behavioral patterns. Many of us prefer to rely on established behavioral patterns instead of adopting a new behavior model. But having an open mind about life and viewing situations from different perspectives helps you to recognize and accept personal responsibility for your own success or failures. You can learn new concepts by experiencing new cultures, learning a new language, or reading a book. Learning new concepts stimulates your neurons and helps create new connections. Scientists suggest practicing an activity that is challenging and complex to help with this. Number 4, practice self-care. Self-care can influence how well you master your emotions. Scientists at the New Mexico Highlands University have found that walking can increase cerebral blood flow, which creates mental clarity. Exercise also decreases the chances of ruminating thoughts and decreases neural activity in the subgenual prefrontal cortex, thus improving overall mental wellness. Some other ways that you can practice self-care are by practicing good hygiene, making sure you drink enough water and getting enough sleep. Meditation and social connection also help you balance and let out your emotions. Number 5, savor happiness. Someone once said that happiness is like the weather. It comes and it goes. Hence, try and appreciate it when you do have it. During the moments when it feels like it's you against the world, happiness seems like a rarity and can be easy to overlook. But try to find moments of happiness when there seems like there are none. Congratulate yourself on something you've accomplished. Keep a positivity journal when you express gratitude for something that made you happy. It doesn't have to be a life-changing event. It can be something as simple as playing with a dog or treating yourself to some ice cream. Our brains are hardwired to remember negative experiences. So disrupt the pattern with remembering and holding on to happy moments, and this will help you to evolve past those negative emotions. Did you find this video insightful? Mastering your emotions takes time, patience, and willingness on your part. So it's important to be kind to yourself through this process, for it isn't easy and road bumps are bound to occur. If you have any tips about your journey towards emotional acceptance and clarity, let us know in the comments below. Please like and share this video if it helped you and you think it could help someone else too.
A target, Ronaldo sees it, Bale's cross, and Karim Benzema, and I'm not sure it's a mixture of cheers, it's cheers, let's face it.
Why? The odyssey continues, and we know it's not a surprise to you nor us.
As we see that Benzema has been given the opportunity now, he's got to score, Duncan. Karim Benzema! And that is brilliant from Cristiano Ronaldo, foregoing a hat-trick to bring Karim Benzema back into the collective palm of the Bernabeu's hands. Benzema makes it 4-0, and that is teamwork.
Absolutely, and we saw it when Benzema...
I hate when people give 70%, but they want the life of somebody that's giving 120%. I challenge you, your life is where it is because of the percentage that you're giving. You cannot bring a tree down by hitting it 1,000 times. If you hit a tree 1,000 times in 1,000 different spots, the tree is not gonna fall. But if you hit a tree 1,000 times in that same exact spot, she's gonna come to the ground. Your problem is you did hit it 1,000 times, but in 1,000 different places. I need you to do me a huge favor, stop trying to be deep. I need you to do the exact same thing every single day for the next 10, 15, 20 years and watch that tree come down. And watch you go from zero to a multi-million-dollar company, to working with the top NBA teams, doing commercials. Nothing's changed, guys. I'm doing the exact same thing I was doing 20 years ago. I just keep doing it. And your problem is you're not intentional and deliberate. You wake up on Monday and you might be strong, but by Wednesday, are you hearing what I'm telling you? You're not intentional and deliberate. You are hoping that the best is going to happen to you, and the best never happens to you. You got to be intentional and deliberate, whether you're making money or not making money. You got to decide that you're going to do something, and you got to do it every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday. The problem with some of you in this room, you're not intentional and deliberate. You're a good person that just hopes the good stuff is going to happen to you.
There's only two ways you can be. You can be the person who learns a little bit, who does a little bit, and then who decides that this really isn't for them and moves on to something else and repeats that cycle over and over and over again. Or you can be the person who's committed. You can be the person who says, this is going to fucking work no matter what happens. No matter how frustrated I get. No matter how angry I get. No matter what happens in the world. No matter what, I'm fucking doing this. Those are the people that are gonna win.
Anybody can go 1 or 2 down. Anybody can go 3 down. But it's very seldom that you find a cat, when he's standing in that tunnel, till there's 4 zeros on that clock, he's gonna give you everything. That's a man to me. It's a big difference between a hard worker and somebody that works hard. Most cats are somebody that works hard. If the situation and the circumstance is what they want it to be, they're gonna come out and they're gonna act accordingly and they're gonna give you everything they got. But a hard worker, regardless of situation, regardless of circumstance, regardless of what happened, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna give everything I got to it because I'm working for something that's totally different. The question becomes this: can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing?
I'm talking about grit. I'm talking about endurance. Just having more stamina than they got. In order to get to the next level, you gotta sacrifice. You gotta take risks. You gotta be willing to do by faith whatever you're asked to do. Listen to me, there are no shortcuts to success. There are no discounts to success. It's always sweat. It's always blood. It's always tears. You always have to give all to be the best. Yes, it's hard. But I ask for it, and I'll do whatever it takes to maintain it. It is not easy, but I'm not about to quit. I'm not about to give up.
In the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, students are being forced to deal with a lot of change quickly. Social distancing is important, but it can take a toll on students' mental health. Change is stressful. During normal semesters, students are at risk for high anxiety and even suicide. Fear and uncertainty related to COVID-19 is adding to this stress. In this short video, I am going to share some tips for dealing with school in the midst of the rapid transition to online learning. Number 1, focus on what is most important. What is most important right now is likely not your schoolwork. Students are being asked to adjust their lives in many ways. Taking care of your mental health is really important. Schoolwork can wait. Under extreme stress, you are not going to learn anything anyway. The most productive thing to do is take care of your mind before returning to your studies. Quick tips for improving how to manage your stress include learning some mindfulness, getting enough sleep, doing some physical activity, and avoiding negativity. Right now, social media can be very negative or positive. If your feed is negative, distance yourself from social media and look for more positive areas to engage. It is important to avoid unnecessary stress, which brings me to number 2, identify realistic expectations. The expectations in your course are likely changing. Educators around the globe are adapting teaching and assessment strategies to promote social distancing. We should also be helping students focus on what is most important for course success instead of demanding that they do everything. If there are still too many things to do in the time you have, you need to tell your teacher and also do your own prioritization. Both in school and in your personal life, it is important to identify what you can realistically accomplish. Write down your to-do list. If there is too much on it, you may get so stressed that you do not accomplish any of it. Prioritize the items on your to-do list by thinking about how much impact completing the task will have and how much time it will take. A prioritization matrix can help you prioritize your time. There are a few different strategies for using a priority matrix, but I am going to suggest focusing on importance and time. First, rate the importance of a task on a scale from 1 to 10. The importance of a task will depend on a lot of factors, including the impact on your current situation and long-term learning. Please prioritize the impact of completing a task on you and your family's mental health over your grades. What is important now may change in a day or a week from now. Then, rate the amount of time the task will take on a scale from 1 to 10. With importance on the x-axis and time on the y-axis, plot the task. Once you have rated your tasks, divide the graph into 4 quadrants. If a task is highly important and takes a small amount of time, you should likely do those first. They are important for your life and do not take a lot of time. I like to start my day with a few quick wins. It feels good to be productive and achieve some of those quick wins early in your day because they give you the most return for your effort. An example of something that takes a small amount of time but has a large impact on your overall productivity is trying a new stress management technique. If a task is highly important but takes a longer amount of time, it becomes a project. You cannot take on too many projects at once. Select 1 to 3 projects to work on first and devote a set amount of time to it each day. If your project is focused on meeting a basic need like finding shelter, clothing, or food for your family, definitely focus on those over your schoolwork. As a project is completed, you can add another one to the list. If a task takes a lot of time and is not very important, it is a waste of your time. Take those items off your to-do list until they become more important. That essay you are working on for a class you are confident you're going to pass anyway may fall into this category with everything else that's going on. If it does, let your teacher know that you do not have time to work on it right now. If the task takes minimal time and is not very important, you may decide to delegate the task or postpone it until it becomes more important. Maybe there is content in your course you are taking that is important for your career, but not right now. It is reasonable to download or bookmark the materials your teacher recommends to review at a later time. Where a task falls on this priority matrix will change over time. Don't hesitate to be honest with yourself about how important school really is right now. Number 3, communicate with your teacher. Yes, it is a busy time for educators. However, now more than ever, communicating with your teacher is probably the most important part of making sure you have a clear path to success in your courses. Don't feel like telling us about your circumstances or difficulties is bothering us. We are trying to prioritize what is important in our course delivery just like you. We can probably help you decide what course-related items on your to-do list are most important. Hopefully, educators are getting some feedback from students as they adjust course expectations. Number 4. Advocate for what you need. It is really important that you advocate for yourself. Many of us are trying to develop teaching materials that use the least technology possible in order to make sure it is accessible to everyone. However, it's possible that as teachers are developing asynchronous learning objects, they are using something that is not accessible for you or your peers for whatever reason. Whether it be related to a lack of technology, internet access, or the need for closed captioning, make sure that your teacher knows what it is you need in order to be successful in your learning. Their job is to curate information to help make learning easier for you. They may be unintentionally suggesting resources that you cannot make use of. Please tell your educators what your limitations are so they can be mindful of that when developing or recommending resources. Number 5, develop a routine. One of the best parts of learning online is that it is more flexible than in-person classes. However, that can also be a problem for students who are dealing with so many other things right now and have not developed the discipline needed for online learning. Once your personal life is normalized to the new realities of social distancing, try to set aside a specific block of time for the most important components of your coursework. What time of day can you focus most? For me, I get up before the rest of my family to work on my highest priority items. If you work on your learning in smaller chunks of time, it will improve your retention of the material. It will also help you avoid the stress of having everything related to your coursework to work on at once. Number 6, support each other. Students everywhere are going through similar challenges. If you support each other, you are more likely to get through this in a positive way. You can support each other in many ways, such as group advocacy related to your course expectations, sharing coping mechanisms for dealing with stressors, and just generally being there to help each other out. People may feel isolated during social distancing. However, social distancing means maintaining a physical space, not disconnecting from the social part of being a human. Use the phone or internet to keep in touch with your peers and family. Social connection is important for mental health. Number 7, be kind. Finally, your educators are doing their best to support you, but they are people too. People with families that are also worried and struggling with uncertainty. They will have varying degrees of preparation for facilitating online learning. As you advocate for yourself, don't forget to be kind to everyone. Feel free to suggest ideas, but recognize that what is realistic for them to do may be driven by factors beyond their control. We are in this together. If you find something that the class could benefit from, please share it. Thank you for watching and take care. Please comment below with your suggestions for getting through this pandemic in the healthiest way possible. If I can help in any way, please let me know and I'll do my best to respond.
Walt Disney once asserted that the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Everyone knows how fulfilling it is to get quality work done over a specified and even shorter time frame. So enough of the plenty talk about the importance of productivity. You've got to start. And luckily for you, we'll be using this video to share with you 13 ways to increase your productivity. 1. Choose proactivity over reactivity. One of the principles of human nature asserts that our power as individuals lies in our freedom of choice, the choice of what to do and when to act. This principle is why Stephen Covey describes being proactive as the first habit to develop if you desire to be productive. Proactivity is the act of accepting the responsibility to make things happen and taking the initiative to do what you ought to do. Proactive individuals do not wait to be told to do the right thing before they take the step, because they understand that taking necessary actions at the right time supersedes merely carrying out a task at a time. 2. Set a deadline for your activities. If you know how to implement them, deadlines are potent techniques for productivity. Research shows that deadlines can help reduce the likelihood that you will procrastinate both when they are self-imposed as well as when they are external. However, the issue many people face as regards sticking to deadlines is that they are often so motivated at the start of a course that they set for themselves unrealistic deadlines. When you set deadlines, be sure to be sincerely realistic and put possible constraints into consideration. It is better to get things done before the end of your timeline than to burn yourself out and still not meet up with your deadline. 3. Exercise regularly. Princeton University conducted a study on 200 employees at 3 organizations. The employees evaluated themselves on a day with exercise and a day without. The results showed that on working out days, participant scores were 21% higher for concentration on work, 22% higher for finishing their work on time, 25% higher for working without unscheduled breaks, and an incredible 41% for feeling motivated to work. Exercise helps to regulate blood flow to your brain. Exercise does not have to be very rigorous. A few minutes of morning indoor workout or outdoor jogging is enough to spice up your day and boost your productivity. 4. Turn off notifications. Many times when an email pops on the screen, people assume that it is just an email. I will just check it. However, an action as small as tapping on that email notification has the potential to disrupt your plans for the entire day. It is quite difficult to resist the allure of a voicemail, text notification, or social media notification. Thus, it is reasonable to turn off notifications during work hours and instead schedule a time to check your mails, read text messages, go through your social media handles, and the likes. 5. Stop switch tasking. Start split tasking. Over the years, studies have shown that multitasking is almost a myth because only 2% of the population have the capacity to multitask truly. A lot of people who think they are multitaskers are actually task switchers. Split tasking is a term in technology used to indicate breaking a mammoth job down into smaller tasks. Since it is quite challenging to be in a position of doing just one thing at a time in our world today, split tasking encourages individuals to break activities into smaller, interrelated tasks that can be done simultaneously. Instead of switching between vast, unrelated events, take up split tasking. 6. Change your environment. Amongst the many reasons why it is necessary to change your working environment, in a recent study carried out by the Applied Cognitive Psychological Journal, which proved that a change in environment improves memory retention, a vital knowledge that many people lack is the fact that the surrounding where a person works from plays a critical role in his or her performance. When you notice a drop in your production, be sure to revamp or change your working environment. 7. Love what you do. A lot of people believe that the key to productivity is to do what you love. This belief is natural for those who are privileged to find the jobs they love. But what if you are not privileged to have your dream job early enough? Would you instead remain jobless? What if your boss delegates a task to you that you are not enthusiastic about? Would you instead quit your job? Or would you rather learn to find fulfillment in your current position? While it is great to do what you love, there are some situations where you have to develop love for what you do. Also, there are times when what you love becomes exhausting and less fun. In those times, it is the love you have developed for the task over time that will keep you going. 8. Learn to say no to meetings. According to Atlassian, the average office worker spends over 31 hours each month in unproductive meetings. Meetings are one of the most prominent media through which you can waste your time. If you want to be productive, you must understand that you don't have to be in every meeting, and you don't have to accept to do every job. You must learn to say no to irrelevant appointments. Before you book a physical session, ask yourself if you can achieve the same goals via emails or any other web platform. Even so, do not book at all if it won't profit you. 9. Find an accountability buddy. Former American religious leader and author Thomas Manson once asserted that when performance is measured, performance improves. When performance is measured and reported back, the rate of improvement accelerates. An accountability buddy is a person with whom you share your goals and your progress towards those goals. You do not need to share similar goals with your partner. All that is necessary is that they believe in your goals and are willing to help you achieve it, and vice versa. Bearing in mind that there is someone who is counting on you in a great way to be motivated. So, get yourself a buddy. 10. Reward yourself. Many people do not buy the idea of self-rewards after completing a worthy task. For them, productivity ought to be a part of life, just like taking a nap, and should not be specially rewarded. But then, the reward does not have to be complicated. It could be visiting a friend, taking a nap, or even going through your Facebook feeds that you've ignored while working. Celebrating your success with a little reward is a way of motivating yourself to do more. 11. Prioritize activities. The German writer Johann Wolfgang von Goethe once wrote, "Things which matter most must never be at the mercy of things which matter least." Most times we're ignorant of the consequences of not setting as well as the benefits of setting priorities straight and acting accordingly. Focusing on less essential things wastes time, while doing the things that matter more saves time. If you want to be productive, follow Stephen Covey's advice. Do first things first. 12. Attend to your health. The summary of Aesop's fable of the goose and the golden egg goes thus. A farmer found that his goose was laying golden eggs. Rather than care for the goose more so that it could provide him golden eggs for a longer time, the farmer killed it, hoping to get all the eggs at once. But he found no egg. This story has many lessons, but the emphasis here is on the fact that, like the farmer, people tend to kill their brains and bodies in the quest for productivity, but they soon become sick and unable to work at all. Pay attention to your health. Eat well, take breaks, drink water, go for checkups regularly, and watch how your productivity skyrockets. 13. Start doing something. The other tips mentioned above will be worthless if you do not take action. For most people, the starting point is, in most cases, the most difficult thing. But if you want to achieve your set goals, you need to start. You must have heard of the saying, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step." You don't have to get overwhelmed about the journey. It's okay not to have it all figured out. Just start. Being more productive at what you do isn't rocket science. It requires a strong will, consciousness, consistency, and motivation. However, if you will stay focused and put the end in mind, you can achieve increased productivity.
Fear. It is an unrealistic thing that doesn't exist in the term. Will fear the outcome of the future. Students fear their bad grades, as parents fear for the future of their child. Businessmen fear from the loss of his business, and athletes fear from the failure. But what I want to ask is, why do you care if you get bad grades? You won't die because of it. Why do you worry about your child? He will fall, but he'll also learn things. Why to fear from the loss of a business? You can learn and double your profits in the next year. And why to fear from the failure if it's just another step towards success? Just a mindset of fear that is pushing you back. It's fear that pulls you towards failure. According to the law of attraction, similar energies attract each other just like a magnet. Negative energy will attract negative outcomes, and positive energy attracts a positive outcome. If you think you might fail, then you will fail. If you think my business might go in a loss, it will go in a loss. As a great saying, what you believe you will achieve. Your belief of failure will make you a failure. Your belief of a loser will make you a loser. It's simply what you think about yourself. People will think the same about you. Your perception of yourself will reflect in your actions. A loser will always behave like a loser, and a leader will always behave like a leader. Now it's up to you. What do you think about yourself? Fear is not a solution to your problems. It's like the cancer that will destroy your inner heart and will make you a living dead body. Don't think of those things that are not in your hand, and work hard on those things that are in your hand. If you are a student, then work hard and smart for your exams. Give your best in it and forget results, because it's not in your hand. If you are a businessman, then put full efforts to make your business successful and believe that ultimately your final destination is success. Never afraid of failures, they are just a step for your success. Learn from them and go ahead. proactive person always gets positive results because he thinks positive. He attracts positive energy. And a reactive person always gets negative results because he thinks negative. He attracts negative energy. And fear is negative energy. We fear because of society pressure. If I fail, people will call me a failure and a loser. It's a fear of people that will destroy us. We eat, sleep, dress, dream what society demands. I don't want to be a doctor because my family hates doctors. We don't care what you think about that profession. I don't want to be a sports person because here society does not accept them. But you don't care what you think about that profession. I can't wear that dress because my friends will not like it, but you don't care about your likeness. I can't dream that much big because people will laugh at me, and you don't care about your feelings. It's fear that is pushing you back. Just forget what people in society think about you. Do what you love, dream what you're passionate about. Never give up.
Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set a goals page. I'm going to be working from the back of my notebook to the front of my notebook, and I want to set up at least a couple of goals pages so that I know what it is that I am working towards. So I'm going to use some stickers to make it as easy as possible for myself, and I'm going to choose some really bright pastel-y colors to make it look really cute as well. The other thing I'm going to do to make this look a little bit more fun is I'm going to add a couple more stickers. Easy. Now let's put this into our monthly calendar. Alright, we're going to set up a calendar first. I'm going to put out 12 weeks, maybe even 16 weeks, just so that I have a little bit of extra time up front. Then what I'm going to do is once I've got my calendar drawn into my journal, I'm going to go through and I'm going to pop in the days that I'm seeing the personal trainer, which is gym days, and then they're giving me a workout for home, so I'm going to pop those in as well. I'm also going to state which days are holidays and which days are rest days, just to make it easy for myself as well. I'm also including days that I'm going to go for big walks and days we're going to go tramping or hiking. Again, comment below with the way that you track your health and wellness. I'd be fascinated to know, and I hope that we can all learn from each other and really create a warm community to discuss it. We're on to the final stage of the setup, and what we're going to do here is we're going to set up a tracker for December. This is going to include mood, energy levels, sleep, This is also going to include the things that I'm supposed to be doing, so eating breakfast, which I'm terrible at, as well as some of the other mental health things that I'm really, finding really important, and making sure that we're tracking all of those so that we can have really a good overview of whether or not I am practicing the self-care that I'm setting myself those goals for. Okay, I am in the home stretch, and this part here, I'm going to put the two fitness plans that my personal trainer has given me. I'm going to put those on this spread, and I'm going to have a 4-week at a time process. So for all of December, for all of January, etc. And she's given me 2 home plans to focus on. So I'm going to write down the first one, as well as how many reps or seconds I need to do the activity for. And then we're going to track that over the 4 weeks, and just make sure that we are keeping track of those and letting her know if I'm able to do them at home as well. Let's dive in to the 11 amazing spreads that I have collected together to share with you for some additional inspiration. I know how daunting it can be to get started, so don't freak out. We've got tons of freebies and resources online, as we mentioned earlier. So just head into the description below and you'll find the subscribe link. Subscribe to that and we would be willing and more than happy to send you as much information as we can. What's really exciting is I'm looking forward to sharing with you the blog that we did around fitness, wellness and weight loss. So have a look at the blog and there is over 71 examples of how you can do that in your bullet journal and the types of pages that you can have in there too. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey Psyched Goers, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for all the love and support that you've given us. Our mission is to make mental health and psychology more accessible to everyone. Today, we've invited Emma McAdam, a licensed marriage and family therapist, to share her insights on depression and some tips on how to cope with it. History of depression in my family and myself. Just like physical health, you have to maintain it by taking care of your body with exercise and eating the right food, and going to the doctor when you're injured or ill. With mental health, you also have to take daily action to be healthy. And when things are stressful, I have to take extra care to manage my mental health. So for example, when I was in grad school, or when I'm pregnant or postpartum, and right now, when we as a global community are fighting a pandemic, we all have to take a little extra care of our mental health. What I'm going to talk about today is more about maintaining mental health than it is about getting out of the deepest pit of depression. When you're deep in a depressive episode, it can be really hard to see any light. It feels like you're at the bottom of a pit and can't imagine what it feels like to be out of it. At that place, often all you can do is tiny steps and hopefully get some help to get out of there. So don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed by my routine. Just choose one little thing to start with and then take the next step when you can. Number 1, morning routine. So the first thing I do every day is getting on my knees and praying. I express gratitude for the day and for my life and the opportunity I have to do good in the world. And that connection with God, for me, helps me feel loved and purposeful through my day. If you're not religious, you could do some meditation or a breathing exercise here. I try not to look at my phone first thing in the morning because I want to start my day intentionally, the way I want it to be. If I open social media, I'm letting others choose what I take in, and that could be positive, negative, stressful, uplifting, or critical. And so I just choose to start my day with some quiet time. I do a little reading and then I write out my goals and priorities for the day. And right now with all the news that's frightening, I choose to listen to the news around lunchtime, once a day, so that I don't get constantly stressed out and have time to process it during my waking hours. And speaking of waking hours, let's talk about sleep for a minute. I have 3 kids 5 and under, so I usually wake up before them to get some quiet time to set my intention for the day. My natural wake-up time is around 5 a.m. I don't usually set an alarm, but to wake up then, I often go to bed between 9 to 10 p.m. I'm not fighting my natural biorhythms. I just listen to my body, and this is the schedule that works best for me personally. For many people, they might have different sleep needs or a different schedule. Sleep is super important to managing depression. There's a massive correlation between sleep problems and depression. Lack of sleep can cause depression, and getting good sleep can actually let your brain heal from depression. So I really value my sleep. I have old friends who nicknamed me 905 because I often go to bed at that time and I miss out on some fun for sure, but it's what keeps me healthy, so it's worth it for me. For each person, your sleep needs are different, but getting enough sleep can really make a big difference. One study found that 87% of people with depression who resolved their insomnia significantly decreased their depression symptoms. Number 2, get dressed and showered. Okay, so after waking up refreshed and taking quiet time to pray, study, and set my intentions for the day, I make sure to get showered and dressed. I found that this can be really hard when you're depressed, but being clean and dressed helps me feel more energetic and gets rid of my excuses. I mean, if I have yesterday's makeup all over my face and I'm wearing PJs, it makes it hard for me to want to go out and see friends or be social or get things done. So just get dressed for the day. Then I take my multivitamins, and if I remember, I take my omega-3 supplements. And nutrition is an important part of my routine as well. I try to eat a lot of plants and not too much sugar or processed foods, but I'm not going to go into that too much right now. Number 3, exercise. The other essential part of my mental health maintenance is exercise. There's so much research that proves that exercise is great for mental health. It helps clear brain fog, and it helps reduce stress chemicals in your brain. I feel like when I exercise, it just works through a backlog of pent-up emotions, and I can feel my body relax. I think it also helps me deal with anger and frustration, and I just like it. I know a lot of people exercise in the morning, but for me, back when I worked full-time, I used to always go climbing or for a hike or run after work. That's when I needed it the most, and it was hard for me to get motivated in the morning, but by afternoon, I was looking forward to it. Now that I'm a full-time mom, I have to be more creative in how I get my exercise in. I often just work out in the yard, gardening, digging in the dirt, and running around the yard with my wheelbarrow. Or I'll do some yoga on TV, or go for a walk with my kids, or pull them behind my bike. Now that we're stuck in our homes with the coronavirus pandemic, I'm doing more inside workouts. I like the 7-minute workouts on my phone or the Fitness Marshal on YouTube. Number 4, nature time. This takes me back to another aspect of my mental health routine that is really important for me. Outside time. I need nature. I need to see the sky and soak in some sun. I'm fortunate to live in a beautiful place, and I take advantage of that by getting outside. There is some research showing that sunshine and nature and being outside changes our physiology. It slows our heart rate and decreases stress chemicals and stuff. But regardless of the research, I can just feel the difference for me. If you can't get outside, open your windows, sit on your porch, or if you can't do any of that, then you could spend some time looking at beautiful landscape photography or a nature film. Your brain has the ability to bring to mind the feelings of nature just by imagining it. Number 5, my evening routine. My evening routine looks like getting my kids to bed and then taking some quiet time for myself. I usually take a hot bath and read a book or an archaeology journal. I'm kind of nerdy, but that's what I like. Even though I have very few hours to work on my passion project, these videos, I don't usually work in the evenings because it would just stress me out a little and I need the downtime to stay healthy. So then before bed, I write in my journal. I often take the time to write about my wins and accomplishments of the day so that I can remember them because it's my natural habit to dwell on my mistakes and shortcomings. So I write about my wins, and then I pray a prayer of gratitude and talk with my Heavenly Father about my day. Again, gratitude practice is an essential habit of mental health, and it's been shown to be an effective treatment for depression. So you can pray about it like me, express gratitude as a family, which we do at dinner time, or write about it, whatever works for you. And then I go to bed. I try not to spend too much time looking at screens before bed, but if I do, I choose some calming documentary or a mudlarking channel, like Nicola White's. If you don't know what mudlarking is, it's just finding historical bits of treasures on Thames in London. Anyways, I find it relaxing. I encourage people not to be on TV because it's just not super great for your brain. But if you do, choose a short and calming show. Lastly, other self-care. For me, that includes scheduling in some time for my hobby. I have tons of hobbies, but because I'm so busy with kids, I really don't have time to do most of them. But I make sure to carve out about 2 hours a week to do at least one of them. Right now, that's metal detecting, which is something fun and relaxing for me. I put it on the calendar so that I make sure it happens. I also take the Sabbath off. No work, no housework. I don't check my work email. I let my brain completely focus on other things. Mostly my family, which is also exhausting, but it's a day that is different from the others. And I make sure to have social time as well. Having social interactions is really essential for mental health. Our brains are inherently social. We are social creatures. So right now, this is going to be an extra challenge with the coronavirus. I'm taking the time to call up old friends. I have some groups I'm hanging out with on Zoom, and when we're not on lockdown, I meet up with friends to let the kids play or to go out to lunch or whatever. So, there you have it, my daily routine to maintain mental health. I have a careful morning routine. I make sure to get enough sleep. I get dressed every day. I exercise and get some outside time. I carve out time to relax each evening, practice gratitude, and acknowledge my successes of the day. And once a week, I make sure to get out and do something just for me. Stress, anxiety, and social isolation can all contribute to depression, but you can prevent depression during stressful times like the pandemic and social distancing by using daily habits that promote mental health. Depression is treatable, and there are some simple things you can do every day to prevent depression and stay mentally healthy. I hope you can find some things from this list that help you figure out a way to maintain your mental health today, this week, and during the crazy pandemic that we're going through. And remember, you're braver than you know and stronger than you think. Thanks for watching, and take care.
The concept of anger, I think we have to think about the phases of anger. There are three phases of anger. One is somebody provokes me. I feel angry, okay? I don't have any control over that, right? Then there's the phase of anger of how do I react to it, right? Do I walk away? Do I respond? Do I punch the guy in the face? Do I call him with some nasty name? That's my reaction to anger. And then the other thing is, okay, I didn't have any choice to feeling angry when I was provoked. How long am I going to hold on to that anger? An hour? A day? 22 years? Right? So in order to keep things straight, I give these three phases three different names. The feeling of anger, I call anger. The reaction to anger, I call rage. And the hanging on to the anger is called resentment. Right? And then if you clarify it, I say, okay, I can do nothing about my feeling of anger other than perhaps take some things in perspective. Right? One of my father's teachings that helped me a great deal was that when somebody did something to my father which should have provoked anger, my father would say, you know, what he did was so foolish. If he only knew how foolish it was what he did, he wouldn't have done it. So, you know, I feel sorry for that person for being such a fool. But if you feel sorry for a person, how can you be angry at him? You know, I feel pity for him. Pity and anger doesn't go together. But nevertheless, I can't control how I feel when provoked, but I certainly can control what my reaction is going to be. And finally, how long do I hang on to the resentments? My greatest lesson came from Alcoholics Anonymous, where somebody said, harboring a resentment is allowing someone who you don't like to live inside your head without paying any rent. And I'm not that kind of a guy. I'm not a nice guy like that to let somebody else rent. So AA helped me get rid of resentments. Reacting to anger took me a while, right, to be able to control my rage. And then I had to realize that, you know, this is part of my being human. Animals react with rage when provoked. Right? I, as a human being, am supposed to be above that. You know, I'm more than a Homo sapiens. So I learned how to control my anger. So I think those are, if a person keeps those things in mind, right? And there's some people who feel guilty for feeling angry, right? Especially at a parent. Right? You don't have a choice, right? The feeling of anger is nothing to yourself. And if you don't have a choice, there's no reason to feel guilty about it. How you react? Oh. Now, my suggestion is keep an anger journal, right? Here's what happened today, right? Somebody did this, is that, and here's how I did, right? Then at night, you see, at the time that I'm provoked, my thinking isn't clear because I'm under this pressure to respond. But at night, when I look over what happened during the daytime, and I say, did I handle that in the best way possible? Right? Could I have done something better? And that becomes a lesson for the next time. Right? So I think keeping a journal about anger and how we respond to it is an excellent way of learning, because ultimately, if I am enraged, it doesn't hurt the other person as much as it hurts me.
Red light, man. It was so good. My parents always said, Nick, you don't know what you can achieve until you try it. And the doctors looked at me and said, he's not going to walk, he's not going to go to school, he's not going to do anything in his life. And then my parents, they just loved me like crazy and said, you got to try. Try this, try that, try this, try that. And I'm thinking sometimes like, Mom and Dad, you're crazy, man. I have no arms, no legs. How would I ever be able to do this or do that? But they encouraged me and they loved me. And as human beings, we're waiting for stuff like that. We all want love. Everybody say, love. Very good. We all want love. And, I went to school and I wanted to be cool, You go to school and you want to be accepted, And so you see these guys and you're like, oh, man, everyone swears like every third sentence, F this and F that and F and this and F. Like what? Like they think they're cool, And so I'm thinking, man, maybe I need to be like them to be cool. And then you compare each other with how we look, and I wish I was smarter, I wish I was taller, I wish I was shorter, I wish I was more popular, I wish I did this, I wish I didn't have that. I wish my life was different. That was me when I was about 8 years old. I looked at myself and I looked at everybody else, and everyone else had more than me. And I'm asking, why? Why me? Have you ever asked the why me questions, but get nowhere? If I had no answers from the doctors, and if I had no answers from my parents, I still have a choice every day in my life to keep going or give up. You see this book up here? This is my favorite book in the whole wide world. This is my favorite book, the Bible. And here I am. And here I am, and for me, that's my full potential in all that I can be here on earth. And so encouragement takes me closer to all that I can be, and discouragement takes me away. You see, it only takes 3 seconds for someone to tease me when I was at school and just say, you're ugly. You can't do this and you can't do that. And some of you thinking like, man, seriously? You had kids picking on you? Like, how heartless are those kids? Picking on me with no limbs? Like, you would probably say, well, I'm not that bad. I wouldn't pick on a kid with no limbs. But why would you pick on anyone? Well, because it's fun. It's just culture. Okay, we'll get to that. But for me facing all that stuff, I'm getting these seeds. Everybody say seeds. S-E-E-D-S, seeds. Have you seen the pictures of the sequoia reds up here in California? These huge trees. Like some of the trunks could be as nearly big as this room. I've seen those photos where they've actually dug out a tunnel in a trunk of a tree. You can drive a full-size SUV right through it. That all started with a little seed. If you leave a seed of lies in your heart and in your mind and you don't know the truth, if you don't know the truth, you will die with the lie. I started dying because I started believing what I was told. I want you to know the three things that I needed to come to in my life is the truth of my value, the truth of my purpose, and the truth of my destiny. I want you to know something. In our mind, we put ourselves down all the time. I want to ask you today, do you think I'm cool enough to be your friend? But I don't swear, I don't use the F-bomb. Am I still cool enough to be your friend? But I don't tease people. Am I still cool enough to be your friend? But I have no arms, no legs. Seriously. You would be my friend even though I have no arms, no legs. So you're telling me it actually doesn't matter, right? If it actually doesn't matter for how we look, then why do we tease each other for how we look if it actually doesn't matter? Why is it that we look ourselves in the mirror and we see ourselves, well, we're having fun. Oh yeah, man, we're just part of culture, man. You to know that you might be playing around. I could pretty much say that 98% of you have teased someone in your life. I tried to commit suicide because of people who thought they were having fun, not knowing the hell that I was going through. The people you're teasing, what if the person you're teasing is the person who's thinking of committing suicide? What if the person you're teasing is the one who's tried to commit suicide, who hates their life because of you? You don't know if the person you are teasing is the son or daughter of a drunk at home getting abused. And all they need is someone like you to keep on pushing them this way. We need hope. So find something else to do. Find positive things in your own life. I don't care about how you look. I will never, ever, ever tease you. I will never tease you. I could tease you. I could be tough. People thinking that bullying is tough. It ain't tough. My wheelchair, this is tough. This thing, man. I'll tell you something. You ready? This wheelchair. This thing's so tough. When my friend built this for me, he said, "You're gonna love it." I said, "What, does it go fast?" He said, "No, but it's tough." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "You'll find out." The torque in these motors at the bottom, at the back, this thing, if someone's holding it, I'm telling you, it can go 90 degrees. I went 80 degrees up, all right? Someone's holding me to make sure I don't tip back. My wife, she loves shopping with me because she just jumps on the back and we go shopping. Like, she just shops and shops because she doesn't drop, right? We just go and do it. It's fun. Now, what I tried one day to do, you'll never believe me, maybe you will, just know that every word that comes out of my mouth is not an exaggeration. One day, I needed to move a car. So I got my wife to put my car, my 66 Chevelle, in neutral. It's a 2.5-ton car. And I backed it back with this thing. Just like this, like nothing. This thing is tough. Guess what? The definition of tough means it's strong. To show your strength, you need to do something that's difficult. I would sound so stupid if I said, "Hey guys, I got a Matchbox car one day and I got some fishing line and I towed that Matchbox car all around all day. How tough is my BMW?" That's stupid. That's the same thing with bullying. You think you're tough? You're trying to show your strength? That's not your strength. Let me come back in 10 years and let me get anyone have a 3-year-old nephew? Anybody have a 3-year-old nephew? Cool, put your hands down. I will get any one of your 3-year-old nephews, bring them tomorrow night at where I'm speaking, and we're going to put him up on stage, and let me show you how tough I am. We'll get your 3-year-old nephew, and we'll put him up here on the table, and let me tease him. Let me show you how tough I am. That's what you are. I could pick on you, you biggest bullies. I could pick on anything you like. Any singer, any music that you like, I could tease you. I could tease your family. I could tease your friends. I could tease about the movies that you think are really cool. I could tease anything about you. I could tease you about your nose, your eyes, your teeth, your chin, your hair, your ears, your elbows, your knees, your whatever, man. I can tease you about anything. It ain't hard, just like you can tease me. You want to know what tough is? Go to the people you teased and say sorry. You want to know what tough is? Go up to the people who still tease you and say, hey, stop it. I forgive you, but please stop it. That's tough. I want you to know something, the truth of who you are. I don't care what job you get. I don't care. I don't care how smart you are, everyone. I don't care. I don't care. I love you and I believe in you. I don't care if you end up being a janitor in this school. I'll tell you why. Because the janitor in my high school inspired me to be a speaker. He changed my life. He said, you should be a speaker. You know what I said? You're crazy. He said, no, really, you need to be a speaker. I said, stop it, man. 4 months later, he twisted my arm, and I said, yes. I spoke in front of 10 people, then another 10, then another 10, then I found myself in front of 300 sophomore students. And 3 minutes into my speech, half the girls were crying, and one girl in the middle of the room started weeping, and she put up her hand and she said, I'm so sorry, can I come up there and give you a hug? And in front of everybody, she came up and she hugged me and she cried on my shoulder and she whispered in this ear, thank you, thank you, thank you. No one's ever told me that they love me. No one's ever told me that I'm beautiful the way that I am. It was because my parents told me that I was beautiful that I'm still here. Some of you don't have those parents, and that's why I'm here. I love you, and you're beautiful just the way you are. Never, ever give up.
Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what's using my life? One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is. Anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal. Anybody can be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. See, but the real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. How you handle it, that's where the growth takes place. What has brought you to this point? What did you learn from it? Are you learning anything, or are you doing it over and over and over again? Are you going through it, or are you growing through it? Are you bigger and better because of it? Things are going to happen to you, and the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go. I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back, and I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. Yes, I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation. Expect things to get better for you, because they are. See, life is cyclic. Whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass.
Self-improvement, personal development, or self-help. There are many phrases used for personal growth, and when many hear them, they groan with despair, as there's often a stigma attached to them that it's an industry out for nothing but money, and that what's taught is abstract and inapplicable in everyday life, with pseudoscience backing up the practices. However, if you're here and you want to understand how you can benefit from learning more about the process, then in this video, I intend to explain some of the reasons why self-improvement is a fundamental aspect of life. Number 1. Go past your comfort zone. Most people live life within themselves. When young, they're often ambitious with huge dreams, but through experience they realise that life isn't easy and do what they feel they're capable of. While there's a sense of security in doing this, it doesn't do anything to help you grow as an individual, and often what you find is people live out their lives in misery, feeling a sense of disappointment in where they are, or seeking comfort and pleasure in other activities. Part of personal development is to push past what's comfortable and really test yourself and your capabilities, seeking a true sense of growth and progression. Both of these points being a fundamental part of feeling happy, because things and achievements don't give long-term satisfaction, it's a sense of making progress and growing as an individual that do. Number 2. Overcome weaknesses. Many of us feel insecurities and have issues with self-perception about our weaknesses, which is something that's directly addressed when you aim to grow. It's not a case that you have to become a foremost expert in a field that you feel is a weak one for you, but rather that you grow to feel a level of competency and acceptance in these areas. This is fundamental in accepting ourselves and not feeling a sense of shame, from which you'll develop confidence, grow stronger as an individual, and feel happier about yourself. It's from developing our self-awareness and understanding that we can then push on to really focus on areas of our lives where we excel and can really help people. Number 3. Develop strengths. Part of the point of self-improvement is to understand about yourself, understand what you excel in, and develop these areas of your life by developing techniques to help you progress in them. When you understand what you want and why you should pursue it, it's important to double down and really grow in this aspect of your life to help you achieve growth. And this is where personal development is of value, because the point isn't teaching you a specific skill, but it's about teaching you core skills that will help you accelerate your growth in that field. This might be teaching you ways to learn faster, to improve memory, to develop a growth or problem-solving mindset, or to do practices helping you to perform at your best. Number 4. Increase self-awareness. I think the best way to explain this is to reiterate something I've learned from Dandapani, which is asking the question of how often do you spend time with yourself. The thing is, we spend a huge amount of time in our lives doing things, giving time to others and their problems, and focusing on events external to us. However, what people don't do enough is spend time with themselves, dedicating time to check in with themselves and really going deep internally to understand if their life is in alignment with what they want, where they hope to go, and what they want to do. This is a critical element of personal development, a process to help develop self-awareness and understanding to ensure you live life in accordance to what's within you. Number 5. Have self-love. Self-improvement means a process of developing acceptance and love for yourself, who you are and what you can offer in your life to the world. This compassion for ourselves is fundamental to giving the best of yourself to others. Because if you don't accept yourself for who you are, then how is it possible for you to give true value to others? It's a bit like the emergency procedure on planes, whereby you're always told to put on your mask before you tend to others, which is done to ensure you're in a fit state to care for others. The same occurs in life in general. If you care for yourself first, you put yourself in the best place to care for the needs of others and their well-being. So with this in mind, focus on self-improvement, as doing so will allow you to give the best of yourself to the world. As you're here, I presume you have an interest in self-improvement, but what got you interested to begin with? Let me know in the comment section below. Please like, share and subscribe as we help you live life on your terms. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to ensure YouTube notifies you of the latest uploads. Thanks for watching.
Aaron Lee Ralston was born on October 27, 1975 in Ohio, but the mountains of Colorado attracted his family to move when he was just a kid, and Aaron began tackling the mountains when he was only 11 years old. He went to university and got a degree in engineering. After graduating, Aaron moved to Aspen, Colorado, and pursued a life of rock climbing. On Saturday, April 26, 2003, without telling anyone his plans, Aaron packed his hiking boots, a hydration system, his backpack, climbing equipment, and notably, a pocket-sized utility tool, put his mountain bike in the back of his truck, and drove almost 5 hours to a remote part of Utah. Aaron went hiking alone near Robber's Roost while exploring the canyons alone in Utah. He fell through a narrow slot canyon. During the fall, a boulder came loose and pinned his arm against the canyon wall, preventing him from being able to move. Aaron then made several futile attempts to chip away the boulder with his utility knife, but it was already reasonably blunt, and this just made it worse. The first night, as darkness descended on the Utah Canyonlands, Aaron realized just how alone he was. Aaron was able to survive the incident with some food and a bottle of water, which kept him alive in the desert heat canyon for the next 5.5 days, which is 127 hours. He struggled to get free to no success, but he was able to use some tools he had brought with him to get loose. But the way Aaron escaped was too gruesome. He began amputating his arm. That was an incredible tale of survival. Aaron managed to amputate his arm to set himself free. Covered in blood, he began marching out of the canyon until he was found by a family that went out hiking. The family called the emergency services that saved Aaron. Hollywood later brought Aaron's story and made a fantastic film about Aaron's accident, and they called it 127 hours, after how long he spent trapped in there. Aaron had actually filmed himself with his own video camera as he was trapped, so the filmmakers were able to witness the real live footage. Since the accident, Aaron had been back to Blue John Canyon with friends. He has kept climbing and became the first person to climb all 59 of Colorado's mountain peaks on his own. Today, Aaron is a millionaire with an estimated net worth of $4 million. Think about this. Most people in Aaron's shoes would have given up. Most people would have let go of their life. But Aaron was courageous and willing to fight for his life. As you woke up this morning, regardless of whatever you're facing right now, your only hope is to remain determined, to be committed to victory or freedom at all cost. William Faulkner once wrote, "You cannot swim for new horizons until you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. You cannot achieve your dream except you're able to focus on what it means to achieve it. You have to stop seeing the present pains and woes. You have to focus on the future and be willing to fight hard until you get there." The author of The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho, said, and I quote, "Be brave, take risks. Nothing can substitute experience. As you woke up this morning, be determined to face your goal with courage. Be willing to attempt the unknown, to dare the difficult, and to try what most people won't." And for someone who would say, "But I've tried all I could and I've lost all my strength," well, here is what Napoleon Bonaparte had to say. Courage isn't having the strength to go on. It is going on when you don't have the strength. The genuinely courageous people are those who go on despite having no strength to go on. Don't forget to share this video and subscribe to our channel. We love you.
today's video is all about why I study in 4-hour blocks. And I'm not talking about 4 hours of half studying, a little bit of procrastinating and chilling here and there. I'm talking about 4 hours of productive, efficient studying in a row. Now, usually when people find out that I study in 4-hour blocks as opposed to 25 minutes or 1 hour, 2 hour, even 3-hour blocks, most of them tell me that's not possible. There's no way you can stay focused for that long. You probably aren't efficient. You're probably wandering in your mind and things like that. But honestly, I genuinely study for 4 hours in a row and I'm motivated and I'm productive and I'm efficient, and I'm going to explain all of that in today's video. I'm going to explain two things. One, why I study in 4-hour blocks, and two, how I study in 4-hour blocks. So let's tackle the why first. When I sit down at my desk over here or in the library in order to study, what is my goal? My goal is to complete as much work as possible, to be as productive and as efficient as possible. Now, me personally, when I get into the zone for studying, I don't want to leave that zone. I don't want to get up. I don't want to procrastinate. I don't want to change what it is that I'm doing, because I've already done the most difficult part of sitting down to study, which is to get into the studying mood and zone. And the more breaks that I take or reasons I give myself to get up and off of my desk, that's another opportunity for me to have to get back into the studying zone, which I don't want to do. So generally speaking, when I'm studying for exams, I do 2 4-hour blocks in my day from 9 till 1 and from 3 till 7. And that way I only have to enter the studying mood 2 times, once at 9 a.m. and once at 1 p.m. Now, this is the main reason that I personally don't use the Pomodoro timer, because every 25 minutes, it's basically giving me an excuse and encouraging me to check my phone or to chill or to get up off my desk or whatever, which is inevitably going to lead to me procrastinating and doing something for longer than just 5 minutes. One thing that I really like about my method of doing 2 4-hour blocks in my day is that I'm done pretty much all the work that I need to do by 7 p.m. Now, imagine doing 8 hours of productive and useful work and also being done by 7 p.m. That leaves so much free time in order for you to do anything else that you want. That can be exercise, socializing with friends, playing video games, making YouTube videos, or basically anything. You just give yourself a lot of free time and still do lots and lots of work during the day. Now, I understand obviously different studying techniques and timetables and schedules and whatever work for different people. I'm just saying, as far as maximizing efficiency, if you condense all of the work that you have to do into the beginning part of the day, that leaves a lot of hours at the end of the day for you to do whatever you want. All right, I think I've preached long enough now about why I really like my 4-hour block method. Now let me tell you how it is that I can actually stay focused and work for 4 hours in a row. I'm going to break this down into 5 key sections. The first is to plan the night before. And what I mean by this is that when I wake up in the morning and I know that I'm going to start studying at 9 a.m., I've already decided exactly what it is that I'm going to do at 9 a.m., which means that there's no friction or no time wasted in trying to figure out what do I need to study, what have I done enough of, what is left for me to do, etc., etc. I've already decided that and planned it the night before. So when I sit down at 8:59, I start exactly at 9 and I can get immediately into the studying zone. That is actually really, really key. If you're struggling to get into the study zone, have a predetermined plan of what it is that you're going to do during that time. So for example, tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm going to study for the USMLE exam, which is here. So tonight, before I go to sleep, I'm going to open this book to the page that I'm going to be starting on tomorrow, and I'm going to put a pen inside of it. That way tomorrow when I take this book, which is already laying on my desk in a nice and convenient place for me to begin work, I can literally flip open to the page of exactly where I'm going to start. On top of that, you can see on my desktop over here that I'm already going to go down to the video that I'm going to watch tomorrow morning. I'm going to open it and it's going to be ready, just waiting for me to sit down, hit play, and begin work. Section number 2, don't give yourself a reason to get up and away from your desk. Before I start work at 9 a.m., I've already made my cup of coffee, I've gotten a couple of snacks, and I've organized everything around me that I will possibly need in the next 4 hours so that I can minimize the amount of times that I need to get up and out of my chair. The reason that I do this is because every time you get up and out of your chair, you're giving yourself opportunity for distraction and reason for procrastination. For example, if I go to the kitchen, I'll make myself a snack or a drink, I'll knock on my sister's door and ask her what's going on, let's have a chat. Every time I leave my room and I leave that studying zone and studying environment, I'm giving myself reasons and excuses and opportunities for procrastination. Now, this is going to be slightly controversial, I'm sure, but I honestly don't allow myself to get up and out of my desk until I've done an hour of studying. The thought process that I have in my mind is that if I haven't been able to sit down and do productive, solid work for an hour, do I really deserve to go take a break? Do I really deserve to go procrastinate and fill up my drink and get more snacks or take some time off? No, I need to first do a bunch bunch of productive work before I can even think about the idea of getting up and procrastinating. And usually when I push myself to stay that extra 15 minutes, I actually end up studying for another 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever before getting out of my chair, because I want to finish, for example, the video that I'm doing or the section that I'm doing or the page that I'm writing. I just give myself reasons to continue studying. You know, I'm almost done with this section, I'm almost done with this video, I'm almost done with blah, 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 blah. And I just try my best to keep myself situated at my desk. You know what? Now that I say all of this out loud, I'm starting to sound a little bit crazy, but just stay with me here. The point of section number 2 is to only get up and off of your desk when you really need to. Section number 3 is, for the love of God, just get rid of your phone. Your phone is your worst enemy when it comes to studying time. If you hear any notification, if you hear a buzzing, if you even look at your phone, or if you even think of your phone, you're so likely to just, without even thinking, reach over and grab it and check it. I'm guilty of doing this all the damn time. And because I'm a human and I'm prone to checking my phone and getting all of these addicting notifications and numbers and messages, I have 2 ways in order to completely eliminate my phone from my studying environment. Step number 1 is to put your phone out of sight. If you can't see your phone, you're less likely to think of it, you're less likely to notice it, and you're just less likely to check it overall. Step number 2 is to put your phone out of reach. That creates a huge barrier. You have to now get up and move in order to get your phone, which I know sounds kind of stupid. You're probably like, oh, it's just 2 steps away over there on the bed. But the truth is, when you're sitting down, any extra effort or friction you give yourself in order to go check your phone, you're gonna do it less often. Wow, I've been talking a lot this video. Alright, section number 4 is about giving yourself rewards while you're studying. Genuinely, no joke, probably what gets me through studying sessions the most is the idea of rewarding myself with either something to drink or something to eat, or going out with my friends, or playing video games or whatever. Just having these rewards that I make for myself that I can only unlock once I've done a certain amount of studying. So for example, like I mentioned before, I literally don't allow myself to go get a refill of my coffee or brew a tea or anything like that until I've done at least an hour of studying. It's just now an ingrained rule in my head, like, dude, you're not gonna have coffee or more tea unless you do more work, so you better get that done first if that's what you want to do. My mentality when it comes to doing 4-hour blocks is very simple. If I work from 0 till 2 hours, well then all I have to do is do the exact same thing that I just did one more time and I'll be done with my 4-hour block. It's the same thing like when I go for a 10K run. If I run 5 kilometers in one direction away from my house, well then I kind of have to run the other 5 kilometers in the opposite direction to get back home. And that way when I sit down for a 4-hour block of studying, really all I need to focus on is getting through the next 2 hours, because once I've done 2 hours, well then I just have to repeat what I've already done and I'll be done with 4 hours. I know it sounds really simple and it sounds kind of stupid, and you guys probably think I'm crazy right now, but if I just do 2 hours of studying, then I can repeat what I've done and then I've reached my goal. Okay, and the 5th and final section is about setting standards for yourself. For me personally, once I've done a 4-hour block of studying, I know that that is something that I am now capable of. And so next time I come to studying, if I study for 3 hours or 2 hours, then I'm like, well, this isn't really as best as I can do. This isn't pushing myself to my maximum efficiency or capacity. I've done a 4-hour block before. That means that I'm capable of doing it again. And I keep up that standard and I keep studying 4-hour blocks because I know that I can reach that level of capacity and productivity. It's the same thing like once I've done a 10-kilometer run, I know that I'm capable of running 10 kilometers. And so I keep running 10 kilometers every time because now that's my new baseline. That's what I'm capable of achieving. I don't like to give myself excuses or reasons to do something at a lesser level than what I've done before. I feel like I've done it once, I'm capable of doing that, and so I can keep up that standard. Now obviously you can probably see with the slippery slope that comes along with this line of thinking, I'm not crazy, I'm not a robot. I obviously have times when I can't study for 4 hours. If I follow everything that I'm saying about 80% of the time, then I'm doing a fantastic job, because the other 20% is just real life. Things happen, things come up, you need to change and you need to be flexible. But this is my line of thinking, this is my philosophy, and this is what I try to upkeep as much as I possibly can. Okay, and that is it. I hope you guys have found this video useful. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel to see more content from me in the future. If you have any tips for how you like to study or know something that works very well for you and would like to share it with the rest of the community, please do so in a comment down below. I love reading and replying to all of your comments. And that is it for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. today's video is all about why I study in 4-hour blocks. And I'm not talking about 4 hours of half studying, a little bit of procrastinating and chilling here and there. I'm talking about 4 hours of productive, efficient studying in a row. Now, usually when people find out that I study in 4-hour blocks as opposed to 25 minutes or 1 hour, 2 hour, even 3-hour blocks, most of them tell me that's not possible. There's no way you can stay focused for that long. You probably aren't efficient. You're probably wandering in your mind and things like that. But honestly, I genuinely study for 4 hours in a row and I'm motivated and I'm productive and I'm efficient, and I'm going to explain all of that in today's video. I'm going to explain two things. One, why I study in 4-hour blocks, and two, how I study in 4-hour blocks. So let's tackle the why first. When I sit down at my desk over here or in the library in order to study, what is my goal? My goal is to complete as much work as possible, to be as productive and as efficient as possible. Now, me personally, when I get into the zone for studying, I don't want to leave that zone. I don't want to get up. I don't want to procrastinate. I don't want to change what it is that I'm doing, because I've already done the most difficult part of sitting down to study, which is to get into the studying mood and zone. And the more breaks that I take or reasons I give myself to get up and off of my desk, that's another opportunity for me to have to get back into the studying zone, which I don't want to do. So generally speaking, when I'm studying for exams, I do 2 4-hour blocks in my day from 9 till 1 and from 3 till 7. And that way I only have to enter the studying mood 2 times, once at 9 a.m. and once at 1 p.m. Now, this is the main reason that I personally don't use the Pomodoro timer, because every 25 minutes, it's basically giving me an excuse and encouraging me to check my phone or to chill or to get up off my desk or whatever, which is inevitably going to lead to me procrastinating and doing something for longer than just 5 minutes. One thing that I really like about my method of doing 2 4-hour blocks in my day is that I'm done pretty much all the work that I need to do by 7 p.m. Now, imagine doing 8 hours of productive and useful work and also being done by 7 p.m. That leaves so much free time in order for you to do anything else that you want. That can be exercise, socializing with friends, playing video games, making YouTube videos, or basically anything. You just give yourself a lot of free time and still do lots and lots of work during the day. Now, I understand obviously different studying techniques and timetables and schedules and whatever work for different people. I'm just saying, as far as maximizing efficiency, if you condense all of the work that you have to do into the beginning part of the day, that leaves a lot of hours at the end of the day for you to do whatever you want. All right, I think I've preached long enough now about why I really like my 4-hour block method. Now let me tell you how it is that I can actually stay focused and work for 4 hours in a row. I'm gonna break this down into 5 key sections. The first is to plan the night before. And what I mean by this is that when I wake up in the morning and I know that I'm gonna start studying at 9 a.m., I've already decided exactly what it is that I'm going to do at 9 a.m., which means that there's no friction or no time wasted in trying to figure out what do I need to study, what have I done enough of, what is left for me to do, etc., etc. I've already decided that and planned it the night before. So when I sit down at 8:59, I start exactly at 9 and I can get immediately into the studying zone. That is actually really, really key. If you're struggling to get into the study zone, have a predetermined plan of what it is that you're going to do during that time. So for example, tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'm going to study for the USMLE exam, which is here. So tonight, before I go to sleep, I'm going to open this book to the page that I'm going to be starting on tomorrow, and I'm going to put a pen inside of it. That way tomorrow when I take this book, which is already laying on my desk, in a nice and convenient place for me to begin work, I can literally flip open to the page of exactly where I'm going to start. On top of that, you can see on my desktop over here that I'm already going to go down to the video that I'm going to watch tomorrow morning. I'm going to open it and it's going to be ready, just waiting for me to sit down, hit play, and begin work. Section number 2, don't give yourself a reason to get up and away from your desk. Before I start work at 9 a.m., I've already made my cup of coffee, I've gotten a couple of snacks, and I've organized everything around me that I will possibly need in the next 4 hours so that I can minimize the amount of times that I need to get up and out of my chair. The reason that I do this is because every time you get up and out of your chair, you're giving yourself opportunity for distraction and reason for procrastination. For example, if I go to the kitchen, I'll make myself a snack or a drink, I'll knock on my sister's door and ask her what's going on, let's have a chat. Every time I leave my room and I leave that studying zone and studying environment, I'm giving myself reasons and excuses and opportunities for procrastination. Now, this is going to be slightly controversial, I'm sure, but I honestly don't allow myself to get up and out of my desk until I've done an hour of studying. The thought process that I have in my mind is that if I haven't been able to sit down and do productive, solid work for an hour, do I really deserve to go take a break? Do I really deserve to go procrastinate and fill up my drink and get more snacks or take some time off? No, I need to first do a bunch of productive work before I can even think about the idea of getting up and procrastinating. And usually when I push myself to stay that extra 15 minutes, I actually end up studying for another 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever before getting out of my chair, because I want to finish, for example, the video that I'm doing or the section that I'm doing or the page that I'm writing. I just give myself reasons to continue studying. You know, I'm almost done with this section, I'm almost done with this video, I'm almost done with blah, 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 blah. And I just try my best to keep myself situated at my desk. You know what? Now that I say all of this out loud, I'm starting to sound a little bit crazy, but just stay with me here. The point of section number 2 is to only get up and off of your desk when you really need to. Section number 3 is, for the love of God, just get rid of your phone. Your phone is your worst enemy when it comes to studying time. If you hear any notification, if you hear a buzzing, if you even look at your phone, or if you even think of your phone, you're so likely to just, without even thinking, reach over and grab it and check it. I'm guilty of doing this all the damn time. And because I'm a human and I'm prone to checking my phone and getting all of these addicting notifications and numbers and messages, I have 2 ways in order to completely eliminate my phone from my studying environment. Step number 1 is to put your phone out of sight. If you can't see your phone, you're less likely to think of it, you're less likely to notice it, and you're just less likely to check it overall. Step number 2 is to put your phone out of reach. That creates a huge barrier. You have to now get up and move in order to get your phone, which I know sounds kind of stupid. You're probably like, oh, it's just 2 steps away over there on the bed. But the truth is, when you're sitting down, any extra effort or friction you give yourself in order to go check your phone, you're gonna do it less often. Wow, I've been talking a lot this video. Alright, section number 4 is about giving yourself rewards while you're studying. Genuinely, no joke, probably what gets me through studying sessions the most is the idea of rewarding myself with either something to drink or something to eat, or going out with my friends, or playing video games or whatever. Just having these rewards that I make for myself that I can only unlock once I've done a certain amount of studying. So for example, like I mentioned before, I literally don't allow myself to go get a refill of my coffee or brew a tea or anything like that until I've done at least an hour of studying. It's just now an ingrained rule in my head, like, dude, you're not gonna have coffee or more tea unless you do more work, so you better get that done first if that's what you want to do. My mentality when it comes to doing 4-hour blocks is very simple. If I work from 0 till 2 hours, well then all I have to do is do the exact same thing that I just did one more time and I'll be done with my 4-hour block. It's the same thing like when I go for a 10K run. If I run 5 kilometers in one direction away from my house, well then I kind of have to run the other 5 kilometers in the opposite direction to get back home. And that way when I sit down for a 4-hour block of studying, really all I need to focus on is getting through the next 2 hours, because once I've done 2 hours, well then I just have to repeat what I've already done and I'll be done with 4 hours. I know it sounds really simple and it sounds kind of stupid, and you guys probably think I'm crazy right now, but if I just do 2 hours of studying, then I can repeat what I've done and then I've reached my goal. Okay, and the 5th and final section is about setting standards for yourself. For me personally, once I've done a 4-hour block of studying, I know that that is something that I am now capable of. And so next time I come to studying, if I study for 3 hours or 2 hours, then I'm like, well, this isn't really as best as I can do. This isn't pushing myself to my maximum efficiency or capacity. I've done a 4-hour block before. That means that I'm capable of doing it again. And I keep up that standard and I keep studying 4-hour blocks because I know that I can reach that level of capacity and productivity. It's the same thing like once I've done a 10-kilometer run, I know that I'm capable of running 10 kilometers. And so I keep running 10 kilometers every time because now that's my new baseline. That's what I'm capable of achieving. I don't like to give myself excuses or reasons to do something at a lesser level than what I've done before. I feel like I've done it once, I'm capable of doing that, and so I can keep up that standard. Now obviously you can probably see with the slippery slope that comes along with this line of thinking, I'm not crazy, I'm not a robot. I obviously have times when I can't study for 4 hours. If I follow everything that I'm saying about 80% of the time, then I'm doing a fantastic job, because the other 20% is just real life. Things happen, things come up, you need to change and you need to be flexible. But this is my line of thinking, this is my philosophy, and this is what I try to upkeep as much as I possibly can. Okay, and that is it. I hope you guys have found this video useful. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, please do leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel to see more content from me in the future. If you have any tips for how you like to study or know something that works very well for you and would like to share it with the rest of the community, please do so in a comment down below. I love reading and replying to all of your comments. And that is it for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Marines. Let's get them! you.